And precisely, nakita po namin doon with DSWD, as far as we understand, sang-ayon po sila dito sa budget na ito. This particularly yung AKAP. Talagang pinag-usapan po ito as early as October last year, I believe. Yun yung sabi daw po nila. The concept came way before. And the fact na pinasa po yun ngayon, despite being in BICAM, I don't think that's a problem po, no? Kasi dumaan naman sa proseso. And ano po yung pinaka-pruweba na dumaan po ito sa proseso? Yung signatures po ng ating mga senador, ating mga House members na kasama doon sa BICAM. Yung BICAM po, yung check and balance within ourselves. Yun ang pruweba po na nag-usap yung Senate at yung House about using the power of the purse, exercising that right. Nakita po natin doon sa BICAM po yung lumalabas. Now, for one person, for some of our stakeholders to claim now na yung BICAM ay hindi dumaan sa tamang proseso, sa tingin ko po, that is something that should be studied. It is a very grave accusation that should be studied very carefully and investigated. Paano po natin masasabi na hindi dumaan sa proseso, kayo nga po ay nag-signify, you showed your intention, you showed your approval of the same by giving that signature. So, yun lang po. Sorry po, no? I think we mixed two topics, no? Between the signature issue and then yung issue nung kung saan galing budget, no? Yung slashing. But I think we have to look at it as a whole. Proseso po yan at dumaan, as far as we understand, sa tamang proseso rin naman po. So, yun lang po.
Just to add to what Congressman Mix and Congressman Rod said, I don't see any irregularities, no, dun sa process. Na-explain naman po ni Kong Rods na the usual process is that the executive proposes the budget, and this is the NEP, National Expenditure Program, and once it is being deliberated in the House, and once the BICAM approves the budget based on the NEP, it is now become the GAA, diba? It now becomes the GAA. Pero sabi nga, we can reduce, the Congress can reduce, it's the usual process. We can reduce, we can augment budget proposals cited in each of the line items per agency. In fact, it happened previously, no? May mga cases wherein, Kong Rod, correct me if I'm wrong, yung libreng sakay ba? Libreng sakay yung ano. Libreng sakay is just the same thing, di ba? It was introduced in the BICAM, but nobody questioned it. Kasi the very purpose of introducing items in the GAA is technically to have a specific beneficiaries, di ba? Kung wala naman pong beneficiary, bakit naman tayo papayag na magdadagdag tayo ng pondo ng ganyan? So, in terms of irregularities, I don't see any reason why some of our counterparts in the Senate are questioning, no, yung process because they themselves affix their signatures. Now, number two, yung issue po ng nagkaroon lang ito ng medyo malawakang diskurso sa publiko when the ongoing PI on the AKAP is I don't know, it was brought out during the hearing on the PI, which is completely untrue. Kasi ang DSWD po, yan, sa pagkakaalam ko, I may be wrong, but this is how I understand the AKAP program. It's a catch-up intervention. Kasi once na-graduated, based on the data, according to PSA, yung nakakatapos ng mga 4-piece programs, they tend to go back to the below poverty line, which is basically the intention of the 4Ps, to maintain them doon sa near poor. And the problem of that is once you don't have an assistance, like a catch-up plan, to maintain these families outside of the poverty line, hindi na-forfeit yung pinaka-purpose nun. So you have to have a program for us to maintain yung status nila way above the poverty line. Yung kinukonsider po nating near poor. And based on the data, we have beneficiaries identified, we have sectors identified. So similar with what in the previous Congresses did when they introduced items and augmented a line item like yung libreng sakay, etc. It went just ballistic. Everybody went ballistic because I don't know the reason why it was attached to the ongoing PI investigation, which is sa amin po, which is completely untrue, na hindi po yan gagamitin for any initiatives connected with the People's Initiative. And nasabi po yan ng DSWD, andyan po yung mga facts, hindi po yan totoo. So I guess that is why the public now is investing so much attention in the AKAP. Maganda po yung programa na yan. well-intended po yung programa na yan, may mga target beneficiaries po sila at hindi po yan irregular sa proseso dahil nagangyari po yan doong previous Congresses and this is within the power of the House of Representatives and the Senate sitting as a bicameral conference.
To add lang to that, no, with the process nga po, bakit po sinisingle out ang administration na to? Pag tinignan nyo naman po yung past administrations, pag tinignan nyo, yung proseso, ganito yung nangyayari. Hindi lang sa administration na to. Again, it starts with the proposal. At yung proposal na yun, we only have to work with the budget that's given by DBM. And again, papasok naman po yung deliberations with the stakeholders, with the departments, sa kung ano yung mga kinakailangan ng various departments dito. At we had a discussion here in the House, the discussion din po sa Senate, dapat po then na-discuss yun sa BICAM. The GAA was signed on December. It's already almost the end of Feb. Bakit ngayon lang din kino-question to? Di dapat po, especially during the BICAM, if talagang may irregularities, this should have been raised as early as the discussions. At bakit po ngayon kino-question to sa timing na malaking issue? Yung nakakatakot po dito is, sa bawat na lang po na ayuda ibibigay namin sa taong bayan na kasama po sa trabaho po ng public officials, public servants, bakit nire-relate dito sa People's Initiative? Bawal na po ba kaming magbigay ng tulong sa mga taong bayan at gagawin kaming masama sa pagbibigay ng nakakabuti naman po sa mga tao? Again, the DSWD, it's within their prerogative to also implement this. And wina-welcome po ng DSWD naman po to. Sinabi naman po ng Secretary natin this morning.
Well, thank you, Kongs. To my colleagues from Mindanao, very well pointed out. One thing I want to add lang po, no? As mentioned last week and brought up again by si Kong Zia, yung libreng sakay is one important example. Is it not po yung libreng sakay? Hindi naman po yung talaga regular item ng DOTR. And actually, unang lumabas ito during COVID pandemic with Bayandihan, yung law, yung Bayanihan Act. Tapos, eventually, nawala po ito, but nakita po natin, social bill po to, social impact po talaga. Malaking bagay po ito sa ating mga commuters dito sa Metro Manila. And by wisdom of Congress po, binalik po ito. In BICAM rin po, if I'm not mistaken, for last year. So bakit po yung ganung process nung ina-insert, hindi po naging issue, pero ngayon AKAP, which again is a social provision, it's a very, it's a social impact bill, no, provision na talagang casting a wider net, no. Yung kung dati yung 4Ps ay doon talaga poorest of the poor, itong AKAP naman ay for the near poor, yung mga vulnerable po talaga, especially given inflation. Yun po yung pagkakaintindi namin coming from the experts from no other than DSWD. So, bakit po, just to, why we bring up libreng sakay, no? Just to give that comparison, yung libreng sakay, walang problema, ito may problema, at yung timing pa, according to Kong Zia, in light of yung inquiry into PI. So, yung sa amin po, bakit of all the things, yung nakakatulong po sa tao. Yun yung ano I mean, we see it now. Nagsalita na po si Sec. Gatchalian in support. So, in House, obviously, we support. I don't think the judiciary will say anything contrary to that. Alam naman nila po, power of the purse yan. So with all three through all three branches of government in support, bakit po ngayon naging issue for half of a branch, no, yung for Senate. So yun lang po yung aming tanong ngayon. So yun na po.